Hi everyone, it's Natalie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about some of the books that I've read recently. These books aren't exactly in the order that I read them because I have one book in specific that I should be talking about in this video, but I'm not going to because I'm going to be making a video all about that book and another one that I'm still in the middle of reading, so that will come later. But this will be kind of some of the most recent ones that I've picked up. So let's get right on with this video. The first book I'm going to be talking about is Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell. This book is the sequel to Carry On, and basically we're following Simon Snow after the fallout of what happens in the first book. Essentially, he's the chosen one, he saves the world. What does he do now? The answer? He goes on a road trip with his best friend Penny and his boyfriend Baz, and shit happens. So this book, I read it basically as soon as it came out last year, and I had mixed feelings about it. I wrote a bunch of notes detailing what I felt about it, but I still couldn't actually figure out what did I really feel about this. Did I love it? Did I hate it? Was it just okay? So I decided, let me pick it up as an audiobook and figure out what the fuck I felt about this book. So the conclusion I came to is that I actually really enjoyed the majority of this book. For about 75 to 80% of it, I was having a good time. Rainbow Rowell's humor gives me life. I find her hilarious, and it's great. And I don't know, it's just a really fun time seeing these characters get into trouble because they're in America and they don't understand how magical creatures live in America. It's a very different way than how they live in England. So that was kind of interesting and fun, but I do have some issues with this book. Ultimately, it felt very much like a second book in a series. Not much happened in this. It didn't feel like it had a heart. Like we were following the story and sure, it was fun, but did it have to be a novel? I don't think so. I don't think this book added anything that was pivotal for this series. It didn't feel like it had enough going on. And I think one of the problems of that is because this book is considerably shorter than the first one. It does not have nearly as much content, and I think that's one of the problems because this book ends in a cliffhanger that I feel like could have been built up to, that we could have been kind of expecting, but only because we're like, okay, this needs to go somewhere new and you need to hint at that. But Rainbow Rowell doesn't really hint at what the hell is going on and what the hell is going to come next for these characters. But overall, I really enjoyed this. I thought most of the characters had really good development, and I liked seeing how their characters were changing and the new things they had to deal with. But I do have to say that the relationship between Simon and Baz was really annoying to me by the end. And mostly this is because you start the book with basically the two characters being on the verge of breaking up, and you finish the book with the characters on the verge of breaking up. And I'm like, what was the point then? I'm like, if we start with them almost breaking up and we end with them almost breaking up, why the fuck not just make them break up already? Like, it just didn't make sense. It didn't feel like this book took us anywhere emotionally in that level. And also, this is called the Simon Snow series, but I tell you, there was not nearly enough Simon Snow here. And okay, I'm a hoe for Simon Snow, so like, I just need to rein it in, you know? But stop calling your book series by the name of characters and then have those characters not be the biggest fucking point of view you have. Like, what? It's just a pet peeve. It's a stupid pet peeve, but it's a pet peeve. But anyway, it doesn't matter because ultimately I rated this 4 stars. Again, mixed feelings still exist, but ultimately I did enjoy the vast majority of this book. I just really didn't like the conclusion. It felt unsatisfying, like we hadn't gotten far enough. The next book I picked up was The Kingsmen by Nora Sakavic. Finally, at last, I returned to this series. I started a reread of it in January and kind of abandoned it because the second book left me in ruins. So I was like, I need space. I need time. But of course, what brought me back? I read a really good fanfic and I was like, you know what? I need to get back to my fucking reread and finish it. So here I am. But I haven't mentioned what this book is actually about. Since this is the 3rd book in a series, I'm not going to mention what happens in this book in particular, but the first book, we're following Neil Jostin, who's running away from his basically mafia father, and he's been on the run for 8 years. And so finally his past is starting to catch up to him. And because he's a dumbass baby, he ends up joining a college team of a game called Xe, a fictional game, a sport called Xe. And shenanigans happen. He gets into even more trouble because the mafia got eyes everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So basically, this last book, honestly, the best one in the series, the best one in the trilogy. Everything that's been building up to this moment, to this book, pays off, and it's the best fucking feeling ever, okay? It's the best fucking feeling ever. It's when you start seeing... Where was I? I got distracted by my dogs being savages. Anyway, the point is, this book is where everything actually pays off. We have the best character development in this one. We have plot points being resolved. We have characters you wanted to see dead finally dying. It's great. It's great. It's my favorite. I loved it. It was just a good time. Like, literally, even when I was in pain because the character was suffering, the main character was in pain, I was thriving, okay? I was thriving because I knew what was coming, and I knew that everything would be good in the end. The next book I picked up was Pip Bartlett's Guide to Magical Creatures by Maggie Stiefvater and some other author. In this book, we're following Pip Bartlett, who has the ability to talk to magical creatures, and she has this obsession with this book that's a guide to magical creatures. Since she can talk to these magical animals, she starts modifying the guide to magical creatures as she starts interacting with them and learning more about who they are, their personalities, and the kind of stuff they like to do. So essentially, you're just following Pip as she's forced to go to her aunt's house as kind of like a punishment for something that she did at her school. And so it's really just really cute. Like, it's not overly complex. It's not really anything that you have to evaluate too deeply. It's just really sweet. I enjoyed Pip. I enjoyed her friends that she makes, Tomas. I'm pretty sure his name was Tomas. He's really funny too because he's like allergic to everything. And it's a really nice contrast with like Pip, who's like, let's do everything. And he's like, I'm gonna die. But it's cute. I enjoyed it. I would recommend picking it up if you want something really chill to read, something that's not gonna take too much of your brain cells, something that's not gonna stress you out. It'll be a nice time. The last book I'm gonna be talking about is a short story anthology called A Phoenix First Must Burn. This one is what it says on the cover. It's a collection of short stories about black girl magic. I hadn't picked up a collection of short stories in a really, really long time. So honestly, I picked this up on a whim. I saw it at a used bookstore and I was like, let me just pick it up because it seems like it'll be a good time. But honestly, I was kind of scared. I was kind of scared that I wouldn't like these short stories because I really haven't been reading that many of them lately. So I was skeptical. I was like, what if I don't like them? What if it turns out they're not really my jam? But this collection turned out to be really, really good. The majority of the stories were top notch. Really enjoyed them. Really liked the writing style. Really liked the message of them. And so essentially this one, I think my biggest complaint is that since they're short stories, some of them felt like the author was trying to go through things really, really quickly. So the pacing of quite a few of these short stories was breakneck and not in a natural way, not in a way that felt like it went with the story the author was trying to say. And with quite a couple of them, I was like, if they had been given just a couple more pages, it would have been fine. But since they tried to squeeze it into that length that they had, it kind of ruined a bit the feeling of the story. Ultimately, what I really enjoyed about this collection was the writing style of quite a few of the stories and the messages of the stories. Like, it didn't feel heavy-handed. Like, all of these stories seem to have a primary theme or some kind of message they were trying to send, but they weren't like shoving it down your throat. It felt very natural. Is it raining? Really? You're just gonna have to deal. I'm almost done with this video, okay? So if you can hear the rain, I'm sorry, but we're ending this soon. Anyway, what was I even saying? The point is, I really enjoyed this. I rated this collection overall 4 stars because I rated most of these stories 4 stars or 3.5 stars, with a couple of 5 stars sprinkled in here and there. So yeah, overall a solid short story anthology, and I would definitely recommend picking it up. Now I realize, now that we're at the end, that I didn't tell you what I rated the Kingsmen and Pip Bartlett's, but literally this whole video is about me giving 4 stars to books, because I gave Wayward Son 4 stars, I gave the Kingsmen 4 stars, I gave Pip Bartlett's Guide to Magical Creatures 4 stars, and I gave A Phoenix First Must Burn 4 stars. So really, everything you need to know is that all of these were really good books, and I would definitely recommend picking them up. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Hopefully I was coherent and didn't speed through these books too quickly. I'm not sure at this point anymore. But if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you would like to follow me on any of my social media, I will leave the links to that all down below. But for now, see you next time.